Hey, this is John Lee Dumas of Entrepreneur on Fire. And when I'm not interviewing inspiring entrepreneurs, I'm listening to Stephanie O'Brien on the Moved by Purpose podcast.
Get closer in relationship with the Creator. Spend more time in conversation with Him. Your Creator desires that you know Him. And the only way to get to know a person is to make a conscious effort to spend time with them and talk to them.
Are you longing to know what your purpose is? Are you on the wrong career path? Do you feel like there must be more to life? Don't worry, there's hope. It's time to be moved by purpose. Now your host, Stephanie O'Brien.
You are listening to the Moved by Purpose podcast, episode number 47. And I want to thank you for stopping by and listening. I am really excited to say that my mastermind group is open for enrollment and starting March 1st. This group is focused on people that have day jobs or even are working on their business full-time but may be in startup, that are really looking to expedite the growth of their business and make things happen fast, to start generating income quickly and to move forward and to help support the other members in the group as well by sharing strategies. There is a cost to this group, and the reason I do that is because I really did not see that people that participated in free mastermind groups were really getting any value. They were very non-committal. They were not all in because that it was free. It just was at no cost to them. So I filter out who joins the group, and I look for very specific members that are committed and serious about growing their business and serious about helping other people grow their business so they can transition out of their day job in the next year or so. And I just know that when there is a cost or when there is an investment, you just see way more commitment, way more value, and faster results. So the cost to join is $250 per month, and that covers, you get 4 one-on-one strategy sessions with me included in that price, plus admittance to a workshop that I have that teaches you all the ways you can bring in multiple streams of income to leverage your time so you have more time, but you're working a lot less. So that's always really valuable and needed. And I'm really excited. That's starting in March. So if you're interested in joining, please email me at stephanie@movedbypurpose.net or come on over to movedbypurpose.net and check it out. The flyer and the information is listed right on my homepage. So with that, I want to talk about 5 steps to change your mindset. That continuously comes up over and over again, this mindset thing. You hear that word a lot. It almost seems like it's a buzzword, but it's really important. This past month have been really seeking God on what some of the mindsets are that I have that I'm not even aware of. So if you guys have followed me and listened to my podcast, you know that I am a person of faith. So this episode is going to be more spiritually and faith-based because I believe wholeheartedly in the process. And I believe that the fastest way to break strongholds and to change or shift mindsets are by relying on the Creator to do it, not relying on yourself. So that's the only way I believe that it can truly be done. Self-effort is extremely exhausting, and it can be extremely discouraging, and I'd rather rest in the grace, the empowering grace and provision of my Creator, of God, to do for me what I cannot do for myself. And a lot of that is revealing some core beliefs, that unconscious beliefs that I don't even know that I have, that set me back. So if you're not one of faith or more into spirituality, then this episode isn't for you. But listen on for those that are curious or intrigued by it, or people that are spiritual or faith-based. This one is definitely a treasure for you. So mindsets are extremely powerful. And another word for mindset is stronghold. So the Bible often called these strongholds or bondage, something that holds you back. Now, a mindset does not always have to be negative, and I'll go into that. But typically, people will never refer to mindsets. They either say it's a limiting mindset, a negative mindset, something that is preventing a person from living victoriously and moving forward and getting the desired results they work really hard to see. So a controversial statement or a belief, and I know that there are exceptions, but in my work as a social worker, I often have a client base of people living in poverty. In Detroit, you would just see a lot of people with a lot of lack, a lot of people with fear, anger, and the words that would come out of their mouth were extremely revealing to what was on their inner being and an inner core belief. And a lot of it was a mindset, not so much some uncontrollable force that was against them. It was their own belief that kept them stuck. But these beliefs can be broken because I believe in a creator and a father who loves us that gives us the power to break these. By his grace, we have been set free. So I realize that that is a controversial statement, and I do acknowledge that some people, some countries have oppressive, corrupt governments that keep them in poverty. But for most Americans, for most, I'm not saying all, for most, it actually is more of a mindset, a generational curse, which often is a mindset or a stronghold that is passed down from generation to generation. And to break this, it is something that I believe really takes the grace and power of God alone to really truly get to the deep root of the problem and get it completely out. It's not a weed whacker. It is really deeply digging out that root and forbidding it to ever come back. So another mindset, an example of a positive mindset, is prosperity and abundance. People that believe in prosperity, they believe that it's God's will for his people or for all his creation to prosper, to be in good health, to be thriving in life, to not have any lack, to trust in his provision, to know that there is abundance and plenty. These are people that also have a core belief that really that there is no lack. All they see is abundance. They see plenteousness, and these are often people that are very successful, typically pretty wealthy or just full of life, and they're at peace, and that's a mindset too. So you can shift your mindset from a negative to a positive one. But in order for the truth of the positive, empowering mindset to get in, you have to remove the darkness. You have to cast out the darkness. And you have to make room for it. So that requires some purging and digging, and doesn't always necessarily feel that pleasant. You have to slow down and really think, and you have to really press in and seek what the roots are and get those uprooted. And my own recent revelation or enlightenment showed me and freed me of my own unknown strongholds that I had. So an example of a stronghold that I had was when I just had no idea it was there. It was something wasn't lining up in my life. It just didn't seem like it was lining up. I believe in, and I may be getting ahead of myself, but I think I am in my point. So before I get ahead of myself, I'm just going to go to point one, and I'll tell the story later. So the first thing I did, and the first thing you do when you want to know, is there something that's holding me back? Oftentimes it's you're frustrated. You're frustrated because what you're believing for, what you're having faith in, what you might be working really hard for, and you're not necessarily seeing the fruits of your labor. You're not seeing the harvest. And I believe in God's word, and I take God at his word when it says the diligent shall prosper. But when you're working 2 years diligently for something and you're not necessarily seeing the fruit you should be seeing at this point. Now, there is such a thing as God's timing and patience and the refining fire and developing your character and things like that. And all that goes on in this season. There's still really beautiful things happening internally to your character and who you are as a person in that season. But it also might be an indicator for you to press in and ask, what's going on here? This isn't lining up. And so that was the first thing I did. Something wasn't lining up. So I finally got fed up with it. And I'm like, I think there's something deeper here than it just being God's timing and me having to wait. What is it that I believe that I don't realize I believe that is causing me to be held back? Subconsciously, I might be self-sabotaging myself or avoiding certain things or being really fearful of doing what I know I need to do but not taking action and doing it. That's an indicator that there's a mindset or a stronghold there that needs to be uprooted. So if any of those resonate with you, this is what you do. Step 1, get closer in relationship with the Creator. Spend more time in conversation with Him. Your Creator desires that you know Him. And the only way to get to know a person is to make a conscious effort to spend time with them and talk to them. So another word for this is called prayer. Prayer is just a conversation. Yes, it's a spiritual practice because you're physically not present, but you're spiritually present with your Creator, with God. And you get to know someone by speaking to them. And it's not just you speaking to them, but it also is you listening to them as well. Listening to your Creator. Conversations are not just one-sided. They have feedback. And if there's something you want to know, you can ask for wisdom, ask for understanding, ask for clarification, and then be still and listen to what God is saying in response to that. I believe it's James 1:5 that says, if any of you lacks wisdom, you can come to the throne and ask God for revelation, for wisdom, for understanding, and He will give generously to all without finding fault. Now that is peaceful. So you don't even have to worry about, oh, I just did this, and that was number 2. Ask God why something is not lining up in your life. That's 2. In this prayer, in this conversation, why isn't it lining up? Again, for me, it was not seeing the fruit of my labor. As I mentioned, His word says the diligent shall prosper. I was certainly working very diligently, but I wasn't quite seeing the harvest that I was working so hard to see. And so that was the tip that something was wrong. So what was it? Why was it there? And He did reveal to me a fear that I had, some fear, a wrong belief, something that came from childhood that I picked up on from a couple people in my life. And it blew my mind. I had no idea, believe that, because on a conscious, intellectual level, I did not have any awareness of believing something contradictory. And to just have full disclosure, what surprised me was that I actually had a fear of success and a fear of financial gain. And so I dug further. I asked more. Where did this show up? And that is step number 3. Once God shows you, ask Him when this first showed up or appeared in your life. So when it was revealed to me that I was so baffled, I was like, well, really? But then it all made sense because the things that I did, the things I avoided, the things I wouldn't do, the things I couldn't bring myself to do that I knew I should do, which I knew would lead to my success or greater levels of success, I wouldn't do. Well, that's because that behavior was because it was stemming out from the root of a fear of success. So that was just mind-blowing to me, and I was so grateful for that revelation. And then I was able to see where it first appeared, how long I've been carrying this around. It's so freeing when you get these revelations and these enlightenments. And step 4, then you just repent of believing the lies. You turn away from them, you cast them away, you decide that you will no longer agree with the lie and allow the lie to have power over you. You'll allow the truth to now have power over you, and the truth will set you free. So for me, after realizing when this first appeared, it showed up in childhood. A number of people just modeled certain things or would say certain things that I just picked up as a child and was kind of taught that. And so I had to just say, I'm sorry for believing this. I don't want to believe this anymore. I'm not going to believe this anymore. I choose to not believe this anymore. And you let that go. Then step number 5, you forgive and release anyone for all harm done to you. And this includes yourself as well, if you realize that you've been harboring bitterness and unforgiveness towards yourself. For me, the people involved with kind of teaching me these things, these wrong beliefs, or instilling the not so healthy or uplifting things, I release them. I realize that they have their own mindsets and strongholds and things that they have to be set free of, and so I release them. I choose to forgive them for teaching me that successful people are selfish. I choose to forgive them for teaching me that people with money and wealth are evil and greedy and selfish. I choose to forgive them for teaching me that it's wrong to be successful and that financial gain is something to fear rather than something that's powerful and can be used for good. I choose to forgive them for only teaching me of the warnings of financial gain and how it can ruin my life, or how they showcase how it ruins everyone's life. I choose to forgive them for skewing the truth, and while there is warnings about financial gain, it's more of the pride or the self-sufficiency that comes with it, not the money itself. And, realizing that there's so much good that can happen with financial gain as well. So much good can happen. That wasn't taught to me, and so I chose to forgive them. You go through that process, and I'm being very, very transparent here and very, very real with you guys. But I trust that this is a safe place and that you guys love me and accept me, and I'm being this transparent on such a public domain because I believe this is for somebody that really needs to hear this and go through this process, and that people will start just really thriving in success in work they love, in the business that they're building, and they're really going to see the call on their life come to pass, and that this is the process that I had to go through, and I strongly recommend you go through if you're not necessarily seeing the results that you should be seeing at this point. So after you forgive and release anyone for any and all harm done to you, you release the offense or the debt that you have held on to, and you give it to God. Like I said, I choose to believe them for teaching me that it's wrong and greedy and selfish to be successful and financially well off. And I said, I release them of any debt that I felt they owed me. I release them of any and all harm done to me. And I give them to you. I give this to you, God. And step 7, ask what he has in return for you. So I would say, what do you have in exchange? What do you have in exchange? This is a beautiful demonstration of what it means to exchange ashes for beauty. The ashes are the brokenness, the wounds, the unbelief, the doubt, the fear, the pain, and you get something beautiful in return for giving all of that ashes to God. And write down what he speaks to you and what he has given. This is important. You want to write down what he has given to you. This is key because you're going to want to go back to this and meditate on the beauty that he's given you. An example of what God gave me in exchange was freedom, restored relationships with the people. What else was it? prosperity, abundance, success, peace, love, courage, confidence, beautiful things that he gives you in exchange for all of that. And that's the truth. That's what you have. That's what's been given to you. So you want to latch onto that. Get that rooted in now. Now that the root has been pulled out, that's the new seed that has been planted in replace of that ugly little root or ugly weed. And then you've got to nurture that and let that grow. And part of the way you let that grow is by reviewing it. So, and that's why it's important to write it down. Number 9 of this cycle is to take this, and as you can tell, this could take several hours and will often take more than one sitting. We can have a lifetime of wrong beliefs and lies that we're not even aware of believing. And so this requires quite a lot of time sitting in prayer and listening and asking God and in this beautiful conversation. And it is totally worth making the time for it. It is the most freeing and liberating and beautiful experience. It's gentle, it's loving, and man, you're going to see huge breakthroughs and huge results by dedicating and investing this amount of time. I've spent a whole month almost daily, at least an hour a day, sometimes up to 3 hours this month doing it, and it is just unbelievable, the breakthroughs and the freedom that I'm walking in. So step 9, you continue the cycle. It takes several hours. Number 10, ask the God if the door is closed. Once you feel, it could be, is there anything else that I need to know? Is there anything else contributing to what I'm seeing? Is there anything else that may be holding me back? And you keep doing that, and if he reveals, you go through these steps again, over and over again. I'm going to have these in the show notes so you guys can review this, write it down, print it out. This is an episode you're probably going to want to listen to more than once, and you definitely want to print out the show notes. And then if you said to no, that there's nothing else he wants to, that this area is taken care of, the root is out, or if you've asked him if the door is closed and he says yes, you just ask him to confirm it. So you can get a vision of a sealed door or a deep sense of lightness and peace, and you will feel the release and the freedom that comes with this revelation and getting that root out. It's just, I can't explain it. You're going to have to do it yourself. It's so beautiful. Number 12, and this is my warning, you must stay on guard. Those thought patterns and belief in the lies that you've carried with you have been likely something you've carried with you for a long time, even as early childhood. So do not open the door that has been sealed with the temptation to believe in the familiar lies and voices that knocks. You must, again, meditate on the truth that you've been given, what you have in exchange, what God has given you, and just you shoo them away. Basically, meditate on the truth. Review what God, and that's step number 13. Review what God has given you in exchange for the ashes. Remind yourself repeatedly that what you really have is good. Call the lies what they are, lies, and shoo them away. So this has been an extremely open and honest podcast, very faith-based and spiritually rooted, but I'm not apologizing for that at all because I just believe in the power of this. I believe that people are going to really be set free from this. And if you have any questions or anything to help you with this, please email me and let me know. I will try to do the best I can to help you. And again, just listen to this episode over and over again and print out these steps, the 13 steps in the show notes, and you'll just get on to living and rocking in the business and work that you love and thriving in work-life balance and just having that abundant life Christ died for you to have. So rock on. And if you've liked this episode, make sure to let me know. Make sure to comment in the show notes, subscribe, rate, and leave a review in iTunes or Stitcher. This helps me get found by more people. Of course, share this episode if you find that it's beneficial to somebody, or if you know someone that could really benefit from it and use it. Let me know what you think. And the mastermind group is open for enrollment. And I will talk to you guys all next week. Have a wonderful week and wonderful Monday. Do not open the door that has been sealed with the temptation to believe in the familiar lies and voices that knock.